You know the feeling, right? That burst of motivation, that brand new resolution, and then just a few weeks later, somehow you're right back where you started. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden architecture of change. We're going to talk about how you can design a system that finally makes those new habits actually stick.
So let's just get right to it. Why is it so hard? You start a new diet, a new workout plan, you're all in, and then, boom, back to square one. What is really going on there? I promise you, the answer is so much more interesting than just a simple lack of willpower.
I mean, just look at the contestants on the show, The Biggest Loser. We see these incredible, life-changing transformations, right? People losing hundreds of pounds through what looks like pure, unadulterated grit. But here's the crazy part. After the show ends, a shocking number of them regain almost all of it. Why? How does that even happen?
Well, it's because their entire support system vanishes practically overnight. The trainers, the structured environment, the intense pressure of millions of people watching, it's all gone. And this is the perfect illustration of a crucial point. Raw motivation, even when it's supercharged like that, is a temporary spark. It is not a sustainable fuel for long-term change.
Okay, so if sheer willpower isn't the answer, what is? I want you to think of change like you're trying to get through a giant, complex maze. It's got twists, turns, and a whole lot of dead ends. And trying to power through that maze with just motivation, that's like running through it blindfolded. Sooner or later, you are going to hit a wall. Hard.
So what's the very first thing you need if you want to solve a maze? You need a map, right? Luckily for us, a couple of psychologists, James Prachovska and Carlo Di Clemente, actually developed one. It's called the Trans-Theoretical Model of Change, and trust me, it completely flips the script on how we should be approaching personal transformation. The whole idea behind this model is that change isn't some big, dramatic light switch moment. No, it's a process. It's a journey that takes you through a series of totally predictable and entirely normal stages. And just knowing where you are on this map, that's the first huge step to actually navigating the maze successfully.
Okay, so here's the map itself. First, you've got pre-contemplation, which is basically denial. You're not even thinking about making a change. Then you shift into contemplation. This is where you know you should change, but you're not quite committed. Preparation is where it gets real. You're buying the running shoes, you're looking up healthy recipes. Action is the part everyone thinks of as change. You're actually doing the new thing. But it's just one step. The really crucial part comes next, maintenance. This is the long haul working to make it stick. And finally, you might reach termination, where the old habit has zero pull on you. But here's the most important part. This is not a straight line. You will bounce back and forth between these stages, and that is perfectly normal.
This quote from our source material just nails it. Your own messy, 2 steps forward, 1 step back journey isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're right in the thick of the process, exactly where you're supposed to be. It's all about just taking those steps, even if they feel small or tentative. Now, every maze has its traps. It's dead ends. And in our journey of change, these are the roadblocks that stop us dead in our tracks. The tricky part is, a lot of them are hidden, operating just below the surface of our awareness. So let's shine a bright light on them.
We can pretty much group these obstacles into 3 different areas. You've got your conscious roadblocks, the fears we know we have. You've got external ones, like pressure from our environment or our jobs. But the really powerful ones, the ones that are often steering the ship without us even realizing it, those are these subconscious roadblocks, like these deep-seated limiting beliefs we might have picked up years ago.
And maybe the deepest, most common subconscious trap of all is what's called a fixed mindset. This is the core belief that your abilities are basically carved in stone. If you believe that, then anytime you fail, it feels like a final verdict on your character. But if you can shift to a growth mindset, suddenly, failure isn't a verdict at all. It's just data. It's valuable feedback for your next attempt. That shift right there, it is absolutely fundamental. Okay, so we've got our map. We know where the traps are hidden. The million-dollar question now is, how do we start the engine? And just as important, once we get moving, how do we keep from running out of gas halfway through the maze? Let's just get something straight, right here, right now. Procrastination, that feeling of being totally stuck, it is almost never about laziness. It's a symptom of perfectionism. It's the fear of not doing it perfectly that paralyzes us, and so we end up doing nothing at all. We get stuck in what you could call planning paralysis, right? Researching forever instead of just starting. So how do you break free from that paralysis? Well, the key might just be hidden in this number, 75%. What in the world could that mean? This is the 75% rule. It's such a simple but incredibly powerful tool. Here's the deal. If you wait until you feel 100% ready to start something, you will be waiting forever. It's never gonna happen. The truth is, 75% ready, 75% confident, 75% prepared. That is more than enough to take the first step. Action is what creates clarity, not the other way around. All right, so you've used the 75% rule. You've gotten yourself started. Fantastic. But now you're facing a whole new challenge. How do you keep that momentum going day after day, week after week, without hitting a wall of either total exhaustion or just plain boredom? This curve, this is the answer. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson law, and what it shows is that our performance peaks in this sweet spot of challenge. See, if a task is too easy, we get bored and our mind wanders. If it's way too hard, we get overwhelmed with anxiety and we just shut down. So the real key to lasting momentum is to constantly adjust the difficulty so you stay right in that peak performance zone where you're engaged but not overwhelmed. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. We have the map, we know the traps, we have the ignition key to get started, and we have our compass for momentum. Now let's pull it all together into the single most important idea for making any change last. We've been told our whole lives that change is a battle of willpower, right? That if we just grit our teeth and try harder, we'll finally succeed. But as we've seen today, that is just not the whole story, not even close. And it's not about finding that one magical burst of motivation either. Look, motivation is great. It's a fantastic spark to get you off the starting line, but it always fades. It is not what's going to carry you through the tough days. The crucial point, the thing I really want you to take away from all this is this. Lasting change doesn't come from a stronger will or a bigger dose of motivation. It comes from building a better system. And this is your system. The 6 stages are your map showing you the path ahead. The roadblocks are the known traps that you can now design your system to avoid. The 75% rule is the key that starts your engine, and that sweet spot of challenge is the compass that keeps you moving forward, day in and day out. You see how each piece works together? So let's land on this idea. We need to stop thinking of ourselves as soldiers fighting a war against our bad habits. That frame doesn't help. Instead, we need to start seeing ourselves as architects. We are thoughtfully and carefully designing a system that makes the behavior we want not just possible, but probable. You have the blueprints now. You understand the materials. You know where the potential pitfalls are. You are the one in control of the design. So the final question isn't whether you have enough willpower to succeed. The real question is, what kind of system will you build for yourself?